Kia ora, I'm Pat, and this is the Happiness Spectrum, and this is the fourth in a series of talks on personal management and how to lead a life worth living and be happy. The arrow flies true. Strategic planning. As a child, I used to go down the Rec to play. Now, the Rec was the local recreation ground at a place called World's End, and that's an actual place in Sussex in England, and it was near our home. One of the games we played was called Pug Sticks. A nearby oak woodland had an understory of coppiced hazel. And if you want to see a picture of some coppiced hazel, then you need to go to the website happinessspectrum.jimdofree.com. The thin, straight sticks of hazel we would cut to make a switch, a strong, flexible length of wood. We used them as pug sticks. So you mould a small piece of clay, that's the pug, to the thin end of the switch. And with a quick flick, you could send the pug flying straight through the air for long distances, even the length of a football pitch. And when we were older, we used the thicker lengths of hazel to make bows and the thinner lengths to make arrows. Pull back the string and let fly with a beautiful flight, if you're lucky. And if your aim was good, you would hit your target. The analogy, of course, even if you were slightly off course, the pug or the arrow, when it landed, could be a long way off from your target because of the distance travelled. People can have a tendency to want to start doing things before they know if they're going in the right direction. Consequently, after time, you can find yourself in a place very different from what you envisaged for your life. You, as the arrow, went off course. And the longer you keep going in the wrong direction, the further you get away from where you want to be. One of my most satisfying roles has been to help people decide what is the right direction for them or their team. In organisational terms, this is called strategic planning, and it's a useful thing to do if you want to change your life in pursuit of purpose, a life worth living, and happiness. Even if your purpose is something simple, it does not hurt to place it in the context of your overall strategic plan for your life. If you're not clear on your purpose, then you're likely to have unfulfilled expectations and not be happy. A personal strategic plan does not have to be a big deal either. My first was written on a scrap of paper over a pint of beer in the pub. It's more a way of thinking rather than a need to document everything. So some definitions. Strategy. Strategy, narrowly defined, means the art of the general, from the Greek strategos. A combination of the ends, goals for which you're striving, and the means, actions, by which you're seeking to get there. Vision defines your desired or intended future state in terms of your fundamental objective and or strategic direction. Vision is a long-term view, best described as how you'd like the world in which you live to be. Mission defines your fundamental purpose succinctly, describing what you do to achieve your vision. Mission and purpose are interchangeable. They're sometimes used to set out a picture of how you see yourself in the future. Basically, it's about what you do. Values and attitudes drive your culture and priorities and provide a framework in which decisions are made. And I've advocated a strength-based approach to guide you as you undertake your mission and interact with other people and the environment. If you want to remind yourself about strength-based philosophy, then re-listen Talk 2. So what's your purpose? And are you passionate about it? What's your vision for the world and your part in it? What's your mission? The things you're going to do to lead a life worth living. Are the things you're currently doing helping meet your purpose? It's an exercise in thinking and reflecting, but it can help to write your purpose, vision and mission down and keep it somewhere visible, such as on the fridge. And again, I use the mnemonic PALM to help me remember. Plan, act, reflect, and modify. A couple of other things to remember when you go through this thinking exercise. Periodically reflect and review what you are doing and where you are going. And things change, and you may need to modify your purpose as you learn along the way. A straight line is not always the best or only way to go. Life is not black and white, and there are many shades of grey and many colours. Sometimes there are blind canyons or glass ceilings that seem to create insurmountable problems, but there's always another way of doing things. On the website happinessspectrum.jimdofree.com, I've put a couple of pictures that illustrate these things. It's a piece of scrap paper where A is your starting point, B is where you want to get to, your purpose, and number 1 is the direct route. You go straight from A to B, no holds barred. Number 2, you've hit a blind canyon. You've gone into this point where you can't get out, so you have to go back and choose a different route to get to where you want to. And the third example is where you have a modified purpose. After time, you realize that what you're trying to do is actually different from what you want to do now, and you need to change direction. The second one, the blind canyon, also illustrates another thing to take into account. That is the external world and how it impacts on you. We may have a fantastic plan, but there are external factors that impact upon your ability to achieve it. And these need to be taken into account when you're at the planning stage. Another helpful tool to identify these external factors is to undertake a PEST analysis. That's P-E-S-T, standing for political, economic, social, and technical. Sometimes I also add in another E, P-E-E-S-T, and the other E is for environmental. Analyze your plan, that purpose, that vision, that mission, what do you want to do against these headings to see how the external world may impact upon your plan. You may find you develop different tactics to achieve your purpose or modify your timeline to give you longer time to achieve what you want to do. The other day I was walking on our nearby beach when I met my neighbour. She's a good example of a person with a purpose and passion. We're fortunate here to have a breeding population of little blue penguins in our bay. However, they suffer a range of conservation problems and the population is vulnerable. Habitat loss and the killing of the penguins by dogs being two of the problems. She is passionate about the conservation of the penguins, and using the terms above, she has a vision for our bay that has a stable and healthy population of the little blue penguins. She has a mission to practically help conserve the penguins by working with landowners to conserve breeding habitats, to practically make penguin nesting boxes, and also to be part of a campaign to educate the public about the penguins, not least to get dog owners to control their dogs during the breeding season. She does this collaboratively with others through the Mohua Blue Penguin Trust. Clearly she has strong conservation values, but she also wants to work with people to achieve their vision. There is much happiness here, but clearly the potential for the opposite when, for example, a penguin is found dead on the beach. Both emotional states exist at the same time. And if you want to see a picture of our bay waiting for the penguins at dusk, then look on the website happinessspectrum.jimdofree.com. In the next talk, I'll go into more detail on how to translate purpose into achievable objectives. I'm sure I'm not the only one who creates task lists that are impossible to achieve in a day. This is an example of the disappointment that can be caused by having unrealistic and unfulfillable expectations. Have high expectations, yes, but make them manageable. Regularly failing to meet your expectations is a cause of unhappiness.